Ladies and gentlemen, episode number 10 with me today is one of my brothers and my mentors in this business, Mr. Mario Bokara is here. What's up, Mario?
What's up, man? Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thank you for doing this.
Oh,
So,
of course.
where you're located right now? You're in States. What's the weather there? Because here it's
Well,
pouring rain, man.
currently I'm in Tampa, Florida.
Oh, okay.
So I've been in Tampa since January. The temperature here is always 80, 90 or something like that, so it's warm.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's where I'm at now. I moved here in January, so I was back in Jersey, and I've been. It's been crazy with everything else that happened with COVID now. So
Oh, yeah.
a
Yeah.
lot of things change, but it's been pretty good down here though. Not as much of a lockdown as other places, but
Okay, gotcha.
it's doing good.
Yeah, we're definitely gonna go with COVID topic because it is what it is. That's
It's
the world we
changed so
live in
much.
today. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
change for the worse, for the best. Some places, not many
Yeah.
places, but yeah, we're gonna. So last time we saw each other, we were in Hungary together in HCW for a Bloody November show, where
Yeah.
Mr. Bokara wrestled Mr. Boldo Brown in my opinion, best match of the show, cleanest
Oh,
one.
thank you.
Yeah. So, what did you take from whole the experience in HCW? Afterwards, you had a seminar. So, let's start with that. Like, what was it like for you to be first time wrestling in Europe, right? And first time in
Yeah.
Hungary, right? So, talk us through it.
Yeah, I mean, for wrestling for the first time in Europe was a big deal because that was like, I mean, when you get involved in wrestling, you make a bucket list of things that you'd like to check off and do.
Yep.
And that was always one of the things that I wanted to accomplish. And it was great getting to do that with you and getting to be involved with David and HCW. And I mean, that crowd and the setup was awesome too. Like it was just, I couldn't have asked for anything better. I mean, and at that point too, that was actually the last match I've had since, just in general, after I had a couple of injury topics. So, I'll kind of go over that with you too a little bit. But yeah, doing that was such a great experience from the getting out there and taking the drive with you guys down there, and the whole show and seeing how it works over there, and the way the crowd was responsive, and just seeing too, like there's so many parts of the world that wrestling it's such a huge influence on a lot of people, and to see how they acknowledge it and they love it and they celebrate it and they represent it in their own form, which is probably one of the best parts about wrestling is it's so universal and different to everybody because everybody has their own way of making art or creating things, so that's why wrestling is such a great form of entertainment or just form of expression because everybody has a blank canvas and you can paint whatever picture you want with it. So Dr. Tom always said it's like ice cream. It's the same thing, but everybody has their different flavors, and everybody loves chocolate or vanilla or strawberry or cherry. Like there's so many different things, but at the end of the day, it's still the same thing. It's ice cream, and everybody loves it. So it was really professional setup too, and the way everything went, and the students, the coaching was. It was so, everybody was just so respectful and nice. It was like, I couldn't have honestly asked for anything better. I just wish it wasn't the last thing I've done in a while.
Yeah, I gotcha, man. I mean,
But,
yeah.
man, it was so cool.
Yeah, many people are surprised when they come to HCW, to Hungary, and they are surprised and shocked with the level of things they are in Hungary. They expect this country to have like low level of pro wrestling, but the opposite, man. It's actually one of the best scenes in Europe right now. So much respect for those guys.
Yeah, for real, man. They really, David and all the guys, they really do a great job at doing stuff, man. It was top notch. Honestly, one of the best shows I've been on, and some of the matches too. There's so many, it was just top to bottom. It was more than I even expected, and it was just, it blew me away. Honestly, it was so great.
Yeah. So let's go back because
Okay.
yeah, first time I heard of you was actually not through the wrestling world. It's through the Croatian world. It was
Okay.
Mario Bokara in newspapers, and I was like,
Yeah.
What? I was like, that was just around the time I started my career back in Italy. So I was nobody in the business. And I saw this guy, I'm like, interesting.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I was dying to reach out to you because for a while I'll be searching for guys who are from Croatia, because all the people, they talk about these Croatian pro wrestlers like Mila Zrno was from here, Great Antonio, Vesna Busic. Yeah, but all of those guys lost the connection to Croatia. Like once they are born and raised maybe in Croatia, young age they move over to Canada or Germany, whoever, right? And
Right.
but afterwards they are not keeping touch with Croatia. But soon after I saw that your newspapers, I actually found you on social media, and I saw you actually in my hometown of Zadar. I was like, okay, this is
Yeah.
kind of too good to be true. This guy is actually in my hometown now. So I reached out to you. So it turns out you actually are from Privlaka, that is part of Zadar County for US fans, right? And crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, what the hell? Like, where do I want to start? Yeah, let's maybe go back to the seminar you held in Zadar in my place. So, what is your connection? How did you find out there's actually pro wrestling, some kind of movement of pro wrestling in Zadar in Croatia? And yeah, just talk about that for a while.
Well, when I got connected with you, that was really because, like you were saying, there wasn't too much going on with Croatia and wrestling. Like I came over and I think it was like 2000. It was a long time ago with my family, but that was how I really kind of got the idea of doing, in wrestling, you're always doing different characters or gimmicks, and they give you a character, and it was like, I don't know, I always thought myself wasn't so exciting. So I wasn't so entertaining or whatever, so you had to be somebody else. But I kind of, like I said, when I was there with my family, I kind of got the idea. I was like, well, I don't, everybody in wrestling is always kind of like a nationality of some sort. Like the Iron Sheik was from Iran, Hulk Hogan was American. It was like Tito Santana was, Spanish. It was like everybody was from a different country. So it was like, nobody's from Croatia. So it was like, might as well, use it. My real name and heritage, I might as well. But like I said, I really was checking out on then I was doing it in America, and somehow it got wind. Somebody found it through here. I think it was a guy named Tony. He was a reporter, and he did some kind of an article on it, and it was in the papers. And the next thing I knew, everybody knew what was going on. And then it started. And then, like you said, I was reached out with you, and I got connected with you. And I was trying to see what was out there, and really the only thing I knew was of your school, and everything else, there wasn't much out there going on. So that was like a whole nother, hey man, like maybe this is something we can bring to light, like if it's a whole untapped, area. And that's why too, it was so great getting involved with you, because I was like, well, we help each other out, work together.
Yep.
That's the whole point, and I didn't really know many other people that were out there doing, like I said, I didn't really know anybody else out there. So it was like you were the only school or studio or anything that came up or that I knew of. So we were like, all right, well, it's a great place to start. So, and Zadar is, that's like the capital of everything over in Croatia that people know over here, like, so when I was young and I came there, it was like, I was there when I was like 4 or 5.
Yeah.
And it was about 10, 15 years before even more than that, it was like 20 or something before I even came back. But so that was, getting into it was just great, and doing the seminar there, and I said, like, just wanted to try to be able to get it out there as much as possible too, get everybody connected. So.
Yeah. I mean, in pro wrestling, it's like I take connections with Batman here, because Batman is a symbol of hope or whatever. And this is what we are to Croatian pro wrestling fans, right? And for a while, I was dying for someone else to make it go further a bit, because I feel like Croatian fans, although they are good and cool, they kind of get sick and tired of me watching my ass just... I was trying to find someone else to spark another hope or light in their fan life, right? And I was so happy that you came along, that I can show you to younger guys that were on a seminar, to Tony. Tony, remember that guy?
Yeah.
And yeah, everyone could take a bit more hope to become a pro wrestler now, because if you see one story that is mine, you're like, okay, 1 in a million maybe. But when you see another one from the States, and then you see Dano Babic and everyone, so slowly but surely we are starting to flame up, and this is what's very important to me, because in my history of teaching guys, I maybe taught for 50 to 100 people in Croatia about pro wrestling, but they all lost hope in a while, so just trained for a few years, then stopped because they didn't see anything come to fruition anytime soon. So yeah, it just super cool to have another Croatian to wave a flag around the world. But what is super interesting is that Zadar area is super strong in pro wrestling talent. I mean, you have you, me, and I was doing the research. I basically know everyone at any time that was doing the pro wrestling from these parts. And there is a guy. Ah, shit! I always forget the name. I wrote it down. I don't want to get this wrong.
Yeah.
Antonio Pedicic from 40s.
Wow.
He's also from Zadar, and guess what? He is down the block, like
really?
A few streets from my house. Another pro wrestler. And it's crazy. Like, we have 3 pro wrestlers basically from Zadar. Then you have Nikolai Volkov was, I think, split, right?
Nikolai Volkov. Yeah.
Yeah, Milas, as I said, great Antonio. That is one of the guys that is responsible for beginning of MMA also with in Japan, right? With that shoot match. So very important people basically in pro wrestling come from Croatia, and that's super cool. And yeah, you have all these guys, also fake guys. I don't know if you want to get into it. I can go into it, but I don't know. We can say like Mr. Dijakovic with a Serbian last name. He's not a real pro. I don't count him in this group. I want to set the record straight, just so we can continue talking. I reached out to Mr. Dijakovic. He responded to me back in English, not Croatian, can't speak Croatian. I asked him about his heritage. He was like, oh, my grandfather was Croatian, but he didn't tell anyone where he is from. So yeah, you can speak language, you don't know where you are from, you don't know your heritage, and not enough evidence for you to carry the Croatian flag. Thank you, sir, but no thank you. Yeah. So what I wanted to talk to you about the beginning, I guess. And did you also research the roots of Croatian pro wrestling, more Croatians that are in pro wrestling or stuff like that?
I mean, I took a look at stuff. I didn't know anything of the first guy mentioned, Antonio.
Yeah.
I knew Nikolai Volkov was, but that was all that I had researched and found. I didn't know anybody else that was involved in wrestling that was Croatian.
Yeah.
There was videos. I think it was on the WWE Network, or I watched it, and it was old back in the days, and it was Nikolai Volkov, and I think it was in Madison Square Garden, and they announced that he was from Croatia, and that like blew my mind. So I thought that was like the coolest thing ever.
Legend.
And I thought that was so great. And but growing up, I mean, I was always sick because my father was born there, came to America, and everything was always Croatia, Croatian sports, or anytime anybody was Croatian in sports, we were all over it. Like, Petrovic and Tony Kukoc, or anybody else that I forget who was the tennis player.
Ivanišević.
Yes. Yep. Ivanišević. Like, I mean, we were in all of it. My dad watched everything, so I was always involved with anybody that was Croatian. Anything that was Croatian, we were. Yeah. We had stuff all over the house, so it was like great to see anybody that was wearing the red checkers, the red and white checkers, and competing, and it was a big deal for us. Like, it was a big deal in my house and in my family and everybody. So it was always like, we were so big on into it, but wrestling was so it's different now. Like now you can look up anything on your phone.
Yeah,
And you
yeah,
can find
definitely.
everything. Like when I was younger, it was like it wasn't that way. But
Hmm.
like I'll be 40 this year.
No,
But yeah. So I'm like, it's just weird because when I was younger, growing and looking at it, things were so different when I got involved in wrestling than they are now.
yeah,
But yeah, Nikolai Volkov was the big one that I knew. But like I said, we watched everything then. If there was a Croatian athlete, we watched whatever sport it was. So we were always hardcore into it.
yeah. I'm glad you mentioned how things were when you first started pro wrestling. So let's go back to the beginning, right?
Yeah.
When did you start? How did you start? What is your beginning of this journey of pro
I,
wrestling?
well, I started training in February of 2000, so about 20 years ago.
Wow.
Um,
Wow.
yeah, February February of 2000 is when I started. So that's 20 years now. But before that, I like right at I knew like when I was like 13, and this is what I wanted to do. So I was looking for schools and trying to find stuff, and I did find the Monster Factory, which is
Mm-hmm.
down in South Jersey. But when I graduated high school, and I went down with my buddy, and we were trying to find it, and this is before there was GPS and like your cell phones and all that. So we looked on the MapQuest, the computer, and pulled up directions,
Nice.
and we drove down there about 3 hours or so, and then we got lost and drove around Pennsylvania for about 8 hours, and never ended up finding the place. And then we ended up driving back because we were going down for a show and see about joining, and never made it there. And then I was working a retail job in the mall, and a friend of mine said, "Hey, I know a guy that wrestles." He's like, "You would, I was like, "Really?" He goes, "Yeah." He goes, "He's like shorter than you and smaller than you." And wasn't that big. I'm 5'9", like
Mm.
185 pounds. And I'm like, "Really?" So he came down to the store, and I met him, and he showed me his boots. He had wrestling boots in the trunk, and I was like, "Yo, that was the coolest thing I'd ever seen." And he gave me a business card, and I started at East Coast Professional Wrestling in Lake Hiawatha with Gino Caruso, February of 2000. And
Wow.
I stayed there. I was after the first day, I was hooked. I was like, it was the coolest thing ever, getting in the ring and getting to do stuff. So I was like, and then it all started from there. I
Yeah.
would do ring crews. I was in the ring truck every weekend, driving the truck. 2 years straight, I did ring rentals every weekend, setting up the ring and trying to get in there and wrestle on a show.
Yeah, that's the way.
Yeah,
What about before your career? Do you have any other sport experience? Like, did you wrestle or do whatever else? Or did
yeah. I loved playing sports. Sports was always a big deal. My father was he was always a big soccer player. My dad played a lot of soccer, so on
Okay.
Sundays we'd go and watch him play soccer, and me and my sister. So we'd always go with him, and then we'd play soccer and stuff too. But growing up, I did everything. I did baseball, soccer. I was always when I was young, I was always a little too fat to play football. Like we had a weight limit. Like
Okay.
for the peewees, you couldn't be over a certain weight, and I was a pretty hefty kid. So I didn't play football until I was in high school, and I loved football. Football was the greatest thing ever. I loved playing football, but I always did soccer, baseball, something, whatever it was, and then I wrestled in high school for 4 years.
Yep.
And my senior year, we went undefeated and we won the league championships as a team. And that was one of the best experiences like I ever had, like in general in my life, was wrestling in high school with that.
Mm-hmm.
Like winning that championship was just so cool. And so I always knew amateur in high school was going to help me after I got out. So like, and I did acting at my high school. When I
Mm-hmm.
was in high school, I took everything that I could take that was basically like going to help train me for wrestling. So I was in the drama club, so for the acting classes, and then I did the school play, the theater. I did that for 4 years. I wrestled, I played football, and I worked out and we did weights and stuff. So it was
Mm-hmm.
like I did everything that you could to get involved. I figured acting and wrestling was hand in hand. It all went together.
Of course, yeah.
So I did all that for 4 years through I did it, and then it was just a matter of finding the right place to start training when I got out of high school. But I did everything I could was always involved in wrestling.
Nice. I mean, it
Yeah.
shows that you have some experience in other sports because your in-ring style is very legit looking, if I may say so. And you can see some people are like tending to go more a bit to fantasy type of wrestling, not very logical or whatever. And you see some people who are fighters or wrestlers before they start pro wrestling, and they have like more not stiffer, but yeah, more realistic approach to the game. Would you say that this is a very crucial part of the being a pro wrestler, that you need to have like some form of athletic training before the pro wrestling, or not?
Oh, I mean, I hands down believe that if you're an athlete in general, you're going to go way farther in wrestling than if you're just somebody that doesn't work out or doesn't play sport. That was always the first question I asked students when they show up for the first day. I said, have you ever played organized sports? Like, were you ever on a team? Did you do baseball, football, this or that? And if they say no, I know they're going to have a harder time. It's not anything against them. It's just facts. Like, you're going to have a harder time picking this up, being conditioned and getting timing down than somebody who has played football or has already wrestled amateur in high school. Like, that's just, it's a fact. Yeah. And I've seen it no matter who it was. But this is, hands down, this is a sport. Regardless of what anybody thinks or says, like, this is, you need to be an athlete to do this. And there are other people that maybe they're not like a workout 24/7 type of athlete, but their body is trained and conditioned to go the distance and time that they need to go. Yeah. Just because they don't look like a bodybuilder, as long as your conditioning and timing are down, like, you're good. Those are two of the most important things I always said was your body conditioning and your timing in the ring. The timing is everything. If you're 2 seconds too slow or a second too fast, somebody could get hurt or something doesn't look as good. Or the crowd's not going to react the way they could have if the timing was better on whatever it is that you're doing. So those are always two big things I always said, and what I've heard too was timing and conditioning are two of the most important things you could do, regardless of what moves you're going to do and high flying things you're going to do. As long as it's put in the right order and stuff and done, appropriately and timing wise, sky's the limit. You can do whatever you want, but.
Yeah, you showed me that last time we spoke. I mentioned to you that I'm sick and tired of people doing the dug the clotheslines in pro wrestling, because I feel like pro wrestlers are missing clotheslines more often than stormtroopers in Star Wars are missing their shots. Like, everyone does dug the line, and I'm like, dude, I'm not ducking any lines no more.
Right.
Then you told me you can duck the line, but not go around the guy. You can just duck, like in duck the shot, like in boxing. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And it showed me like, oh yeah, okay. And it shows the level of experience you are on, and it shows in the ring, because those little parts are like a glue that sets the match all together. And because some guys do big spots, but what they do in between is so shallow that makes you just want to tune out. And this is what experience does, I guess. Like, keep it all together. I
always said the little timing things, or like you said, it's like the glue that puts everything together. Like,
definitely.
And like you said too, everybody does this. Everybody does the duck the line. Everybody does everybody does the punch for punch in the middle of the ring, where, you know what I mean, we're all fighting back and forth, and everybody does he kicked out. I can't believe he kicked out. And it's like, well, why can't you believe that? It's not like you hit him with your finisher. You know what I mean? Like, people hit like a basic move. Yeah. A basic move or something that's just in their arsenal that they've never beat anybody with. Yeah. And when the person kicks out, they're like shocked. And it's like, why are you shocked? You've never beat anybody with that move. So I don't understand why now it's shocking you. Shit. Like, so if people do those things, like you're saying, like, my mind is don't do them. If everybody's doing that, then don't do it. Yeah. And it's a matter too of always, like, you should just be focused on your opponent. You should be focused on the match. Like, if that move didn't work, okay, get up and try something else.
Of course.
Or work towards something else. But it's those little things that everybody does. Like you had just said, if everybody's doing it, then I'm not going to do it. Like slapping my leg or doing certain things. Like, if they're doing it, I'm not going to do it. That's always what I try to be different. And the matches should be different. If everybody watches a whole card and all 8 matches are the same, doing the same spots and have the same story, then it's hard for people to get invested emotionally in the match, because now they're like, They know it's a performance. You know?
Yeah. I mean, that's wrestling logic 101. Just, I mean,
Yeah.
the other thing that bugs me about wrestling logic is the finishers. Like, Mike Tyson had a finisher, like mean left hook. He tries to do the finisher first minute of the fight. In pro wrestling, you're like, I'm going to say my finisher for the 7 or 8 minute of the fight. I'm not going to try it before. Like, why not? Go for it right from the beginning. But no, we want to,
like you're saying about, but like you're going for it. Usually, I mean, Al Snow always said that too. He said basically a match is, you know, like Jake the Snake Roberts versus, I think it was a perfect example he used. It was Jake Roberts versus, some was a figure 4. Jake Roberts has the DDT, and like say, Ric Flair's got the figure 4. So the whole story was, I'm going to go for the DDT, and I'm going for the figure 4. Whoever hits it first is going to win. Or should win, you know. Like, so the whole point is, whatever you're going for. If that's your big gun, then that's what you should be going. And everybody already understands it, right at the beginning. So if you're going for it early, he's going to show you that I'm trying to go for a DDT, and he's saying I'm trying to go for a figure 4. The crowd understands that, and now they know, and now it's easier to follow. But like you said, you should have your weapons and go for them. Like Mike Tyson is a perfect example. Like.
Because it's singles match. They try it like 10 minutes after the bell, and once the Battle Royale starts or Royal Rumble, everyone is hitting the finish right from the beginning, like ta-dam, like what the fuck? Doesn't make any fucking sense. And by the way, how big is Al Snow?
Oh yeah, he's
that
so
guy
big.
is huge. I met him in Berlin. Like, I felt like a dwarf. Like. Shit.
Oh yeah, I know.
That guy has some huge forearms, and he's in way better shape than he was like 20 years ago.
I know. We all say the same thing now. I always attribute that to guys having more time at home and not being on the road like they used to be.
Yeah, less injuries and everything. Yeah,
I think Al lives in Kentucky still, and he bought out OVW, so I know he's controlling Ohio Valley Wrestling. So he's got it going on a different. He's doing everything. I think it's in a different building too, or it might be in the same. I'm not really sure, but I think it's somewhere new. But I know Al's doing all the OVW stuff now.
Yeah. Do you think pro wrestling should kind of evolve, like, because when chain wrestling started, I mean, like 50 years ago, you can sell chain wrestling as a credible grappling. But with the rise of MMA and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and wrestling, and you basically see UFC every week, and you can basically see what works, what doesn't work. And you have all these moves like abdominal stretches, kind of weird one, and I don't know, wrist lock is basically weird one, because why don't you just punch a guy? Why are you fighting for a hand? Get his head or whatever. Like, do you think chain wrestling or grappling in pro wrestling should evolve on some stage or not?
I think it depends on who's doing it. I think the old school way of top wrist lock or bottom wrist lock, I think it still works. The major thing I notice if I watch people chain wrestling and they're doing like a top wrist lock or a bottom wrist lock is they don't really sell the actual hold. Like, I'll still stand on my feet with you, and they do this. And they, you know what I mean? They're on their feet looking at you, and they're tapping, and they're doing this and all that. Instead of being on the ground, face up, really putting over the hold and selling it, trying to work your way up, and then getting the wrench back down. I really think it just depends on who's chain wrestling. You can make it believable. But at the same time, because of how the sports have evolved with MMA, I think people are looking for more of a realistic approach to it. And I am in general too, as it goes. There's some people that can chain wrestle real well, and some people are really just not their strong point. But I think you really have to. I think the original moves, everything can still work in chain wrestling, but it's just a matter of really people don't sell. Like, if we're standing face to face, nobody's winning. It's at a stalemate. So if you have me in an armbar or anything, we're both standing. We're in a neutral position. But if we lock up and you grab a bottom wrist lock and I'm on the ground, face down on my knees, and you're standing over me with a hold, you're establishing dominance. Visually, the crowd sees, okay, he's getting hurt, he's in control.
Yeah.
Then when you work up and you reverse it, you reverse roles.
Yeah.
If you're on the ground and I'm in control now they see that, okay, he reversed him and now he's in control.
Mm-hmm.
If everybody's just standing and doing the same thing, we're spinning around and it's very smooth and it's soft and everything is light, I'm going, okay, bullshit, right? And that's what it is. In my opinion, it's just my opinion on it. But
yeah, I think you're pretty spot on.
I think that you, really need to. Chain wrestling in itself is a lost art, I think, to some people because they don't.
Definitely.
Yeah, they're looking to just do the around the world stuff and pass by and do things and just start running and hitting the ropes and stuff.
Yeah.
But if done right and sold properly, everything works. It's just you have to make every single thing that you do mean something. Every step you take, every hold you grab, every swing, every duck, every punch, everything should mean something that you do or you shouldn't do it.
Yeah, there was a good example for this in the last WWE pay-per-view. What was it Payback or whatever? You first saw Bobby Lashley chain wrestle, and then afterwards in the match you saw Sheamus and Big E chain wrestle, and you can see Lashley is a legit grappler because that chain wrestling actually works. But Sheamus one and Big E, that shit was like, what the fuck are you guys doing? Like, because when you have Lashley, he makes a good transition, which is a critical point in chain wrestling. When do you start to strike, or when do you stop grapple? Because usually it looks like a gentleman's agreement. Okay, yeah, we can now start to strike. But it doesn't make any sense, guys. Like, we want to chain wrestle, and later on in the match we are super kicking each other, pile driving it, and everything. But in Lashley's case, it actually looks like, okay, softening up the opponent or whatever. Like, he actually makes it work, and it's rare to see, really rare to see. Another thing,
you can definitely tell, like you said, the people that are more amateur style that chain wrestle as opposed to people that haven't, but they make it look a little bit more real. And especially like you were saying about throwing in the punch, like when is it time to strike? Like, I was always really big on that. Like, for me, like when I was coaching and teaching, I would tell guys anyway, the babyface shouldn't throw the first punch ever, like at all in general, because you're the good guy. We're not supposed to punch. We're not supposed to punch with a closed fist in wrestling. We're not supposed to do that. It's supposed to be an open hand strike or forearms or elbows or things like that. We're not supposed to actually physically punch anybody. So when we're punching somebody and we don't put a mark on their face or a black eye on their eye, it's kind of like those are one of those things that take the realism away from it. But the heel should always be the one to strike first anyway. I've done matches, even when I was younger, for the earlier years, where I didn't throw a punch the entire match. I did drop kicks and forearms, if anything. I did striking, but I would never throw a punch. I wasn't good at them, too. That was the whole point. So, like, I couldn't throw a good punch. So I wasn't going to do it. Like, if I can't do it good, I'm not going to do it. If I can't hit that move 10 times out of 10 well, then I'm not going to do it. People do stuff that they can do okay sometimes. Like, you want to learn a move until you can't do it wrong. You do it so many times, you can never do it wrong. But punching was always like that. Once we start punching, that's now we're changing gears. We can chain wrestle in the beginning, but at one point the heel's got to get aggravated and throw that first strike. And now we can, like, once that first strike comes, that can be your heat change. Like, that's your cutoff. Now we're in heat, bro. Like, and you're going to be lighting me up. And once comeback time comes, I'm going to fuck you up. Like, I'm going to get fired up.
Nice.
But that's what people want to see. And once we do that comeback, the heat's for the baby face, and the comeback's for the heat is for the heel. That's heel shine, and then the comeback is the baby face's shine. And once we get there, now we can just take you guys wherever we want, depending on what the story is or what the finish is or whatever we want to do or how the crowd is. But it's like those are always those essential recipe ingredients that you need in that match to get there. And then everybody's always gonna. If it was an okay match with a great finish, everybody's going to remember it. If it was a great match with a horrible finish or a shitty finish, people are going to be like, You know,
Yeah,
it
yeah,
all
definitely.
depends. A good match, a bad match can be saved by a great finish, but a good match can go to shits if the finish is bad.
Yeah, yeah. The one lesson I always remember from you is if the crowd goes along with the 1, 2, 3 at the end, you know you had him.
Yeah,
You know you had a good
yeah,
match, and I always listen to this shit after I'm
yeah.
finishing. Yeah, yeah. But
Especially
now,
when you can get a false in too, or you get a bite, a false finish in
oh
there
yeah,
too, and you know with you, yeah. When you know that moment of the match where, even if it's earlier on or something, but when you hear that first initial like, oh, they were into that one, like now
yeah,
I got it. You're like, oh, wait till you see this. Wait till you
yeah,
see
yeah,
that.
exactly. Yeah.
Now you take your time with that. Yeah, if they're into it, man, you go for it. But
Hmm.
yeah, that's how I always judge too. Is if they count 1, 2, 3, pop, that was a good match.
Cool. So here's another critical part of pro wrestling that I feel like needs evolving, or at least explain to me how does it work, how doesn't it work, and it's the Irish whip. You whip the guy to the ropes, and he comes back running like he misses you or something. So I feel like yeah, I can maybe run the ropes to get some speed, basically doing the dives or whatever, but just
Right.
whipping the guy to the ropes and waiting for him in the middle of the ring to run to you, it just doesn't make any sense to me. What do you
Right.
think?
No, I'm a firm 100% in agreement with that. And honestly, there's a lot of times in my match where I wouldn't. I try as much as possible to not Irish whip anybody, like at all, like to hit the ropes or duck or
Cool.
like
Yep.
back somebody up and shoot like tackle drop down leapfrog hip toss. Like I never run that spot. Like, and we always call that's like the universal spot.
Yeah, yeah. That's
Headlock,
shit.
tackle,
Yeah.
drop down, leapfrog, hip toss, cover,
Why?
kick out, right to the head, take it over. Right. You know what I mean? Like, that's one spot I'll never run. I don't ever run that in a match.
Yeah.
Most of the times I won't even lock up right away first. Like, we'll go to lock up, I'll single leg take down somebody and have them go for the rope, and that's it.
Mhm.
Like, I won't start with a lockup because everybody does that anyway, too. Like we said, if everybody's doing it, don't do it. But those are those things that, like you said, takes away the realism of what we're doing because now we're working together on stuff. But when I was in OVW with Rip Rogers, I learned more with Rip Rogers and OVW in 2005 and 6 than I did in 6 years on the independents before I even worked with Rip. Like, I learned so much with him. And if we were doing whips, especially to the corner, that was usually the only time I would do a whip. Like, you would bring the guy past mid-ring, maybe 3/4 of the way out, and then you have to follow through with it, like if you're throwing a baseball.
Yeah.
Like a pitcher leans back and he really throws everything in. You see people do this.
Mm-hmm.
And that's like you said, it's like, I mean, come on. Now you're going to run all the way across the ring, and you're going to hit the ropes, and you're going to bounce back.
Yeah.
Why don't you just hold the rope and stop?
Yeah,
You know?
exactly.
So I'm in the firm agreement with that. Like, if you are going to do it, you have to pass 3/4 of the way, over. Both of you guys got to be past mid-ring. And if you are, you should be fully extended anyway. It should be a full extend. A lot of guys always have this little short arm thing, and everybody, when we're doing this, and I'm in agreement too with you, man. I'm not a huge fan of the Irish whip. I try not to do it as much as I can, or if someone's going to try to shoot me off, I try to reverse it right away or weave through into another move. But I really try not to have everybody crisscross back and forth.
One guy that does it terribly, I hate to say it, but is Ricochet. I mean, I love that guy. That guy is a human superhero, just amazing dude. But every time he does his little Irish whip pat to the back, I'm like, not again. And he's still doing it in WWE. I was like, okay, in PWG, it works. Kind of works because who gives a fuck? But in WWG, he's like, I can't believe this shit now.
When the ring is big like that, it's hard.
Yeah,
especially when it's big. Yeah, because when I was doing that, the 20x20 is the WWE ring.
Yeah.
So when I was in OVW, that's what we trained in. So you had to get, really across mid-ring. Like, you really had to bring a guy a long way out before you could even bother shooting them off. Or they would call it the Vader whip, like Big Van Vader.
Yeah.
Big Van Vader would grab a guy from the corner and he'd just send him. And he'd be running 3/4 of the way across the ring and then take the buckle himself, So those are things like, but I've heard other people too, in their own way of coaching, they tell you to do that so you have more room to do things. It's again, it's that different style of wrestling. You know, everybody's got a different way of doing it, but I'm in a firm agreement too. I'm not a fan of it. I understand. There's some guys too that are just so good at what they do, like a Ricochet. Like there's things like that. Like we always say, Rip Rogers always said, once you get over it, you can do whatever the fuck you want.
Exactly. That's a good point.
Like,
yeah.
At that point, and nobody's going to say, you know, or it's not a big deal.
Yeah.
But you know, he does so many amazing things that are so much more emphasis than those little minute things like that. But I'm in a firm agreement too. Like I said, there's little things like that are like, you know. And it just takes a little something away from it.
Exactly.
Me, you know.
I mean, I would just like to invite guys who are thinking it's a good idea to do the Irish strip still. Just try and use it in your local BJJ school. Just ask for some blue belt or whatever, white belt for a sparring session, and just try to Irish strip that dude during the sparring. Let me know how it goes, please.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Craziness. It's crazy. I mean, but yeah. Are you watching like WWE or AEW recently?
Yeah, I pretty much watch both. I watch everything. Okay. All I really do is watch wrestling anyway.
Okay, so let's chat for a bit about AEW because I saw All Out. I was doing the review with Dano and other guy, and man, this is the first time I saw AEW. And correct me if I'm wrong, but it feels like, first of all, the good side of the stuff is the roster is fucking amazing. Right. Talent pool super deep, but it feels like the best, the richest backyard wrestling promotion in the world. Like everyone does whatever the fuck they want. Just like it feels like a Best Buddies promotion to me. Like. Doesn't make any sense. Like all the battle royals with crazy stupid stuff they did with Matt Sydal almost dying on the shooting star press. I mean Jericho with the power bomb. Just throw the fucking guy in a juice. Don't throw him through the table, and everything was just didn't make any sense to me. Of course, Young Bucks in the opener match, I was like, shit, like fuck. So much wrong about the show. What do you think about it?
About the last show that they did? Or?
Yeah, I mean in general.
In general, I'm a fan. I mean, I like AEW that they're doing. Like we were saying too, if everybody does the same thing, then don't do it. So like, if WWE is working a certain style of TV or a certain style in their matches, I don't think it's smart for AEW to do the same things that they're doing. So I like the fact that they're doing different things. Yeah. The whole point of them is to be different. Like the product having a different feel, the product having a different look, using different athletes, using a different style, changing things up. They give a lot of people a lot of opportunities independently, which I think is also another great thing. There's always new people with AEW Dark, and you know the way that everybody's had to adjust.
Yeah, that's a good
running
point.
Pay-per-views and running their product, like we were saying with COVID-19, is crazy. Yep. It's crazy. Like the way everything changed. Like you've really found out that it was like, you know, like wrestling. You know, like it almost became a non-essential form of entertainment. People were kind of like, all right, well, you know, as far as the in-ring or the large crowd products up. But it was really a testament to everybody, for the guys and the companies, of how they were trying to keep viewers in, you know, while all this was going down. And it was hard for me. It was hard for me watching shows with empty arenas.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Like without fans at all. Like it was hard. Like it's hard to get invested in that. It's just a different feel of it. But like I said, I like the fact that they're doing different stuff. And when you're doing different things, though, sometimes, you know, some things work, some things don't, you know, and that's what the gamble is you're trying out new things, and it's, you know, it's either some of them are going to be home runs and some of them are going to be, doubles or strikeouts or certain things. But like I said, being different is a great is part of I think what makes them unique is having that different feel and that different product. But everything is not going to be to everybody's taste or liking either. It was. I don't think their last All Out was bad. I just think the ones they've had previously before that were really good, like compared to what they had going on that last card. Mm-hmm. It wasn't bad. It just wasn't. I've been watching so much AEW on YouTube past stuff, and there were so many things. Like I think it was All Out, the last one. It was the ladder match with Lucha Brothers and Young Bucks.
Yeah.
And that was crazy. It was like Escalada del Norte. It was crazy. Like it was just nuts. And some of the matches were just like, and when they're in front of the live crowd like that, man, like their crowd, that crowd will pop for things like an independent crowd, which is, like you've been on certain shows and they pop for silly stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of fun to watch, but when the crowd's into it too, it's like a Jurassic Express, like Luchasaurus and Jungle Boy, and crowd loves them, man. Like, and they're over, and it's like, it's great to watch when the crowd's invested and involved. I can't wait till everything is back to full capacity. Yeah, because there's so many things that have happened over the past few months that, man, I wish there was a live crowd for a lot of these things that would have happened. But for both companies, I think they're really both making the best of what they can with everything. But
yeah,
I said I'm a fan
much
of both
respect
of them.
for that. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I mean, and like seeing a guy like Eddie Kingston, I've known for so long, and watching him get signed, and like Serena Deeb, she just got signed with AEW. Yes. I knew her from Louisville, and she was coaching the Performance Center, so. It's just great that the opportunities that are there for like on any given day, anybody could walk in there and get a tryout match or work on Dark and then get signed. Like,
oh wow, yeah, that's cool.
And I feel like in general too, like it's a lot of things like that in wrestling in general. Like you could be gone or off the map for 3-4 years, and you can show up one day, work one match in the right spot, and you're back. So there's always that room for opportunity, in any company. I feel like in general in wrestling is anybody could walk in there tomorrow and just show the right people, be different and do something different, and there you go.
I mean, yeah, definitely AEW feels more organic than WWE does. Like production is a bit lower, but yeah, it feels like WCW back in the day.
Yes.
Yeah, but like. I enjoy the matches, like watching as a fan, it's cool. Then you have this worker side from you. And I was watching, for example, match with Kenny Omega and what was it? FTR was, Kenny Omega and Page versus those guys.
Right.
I remember the part of the match. Omega hits his flying knee, misses the guy, hits his right knee on the corner. Then they do Dragon Screw 2 times on his right knee, and then this guy was supposed to do a modified figure 4, but he does it on the opposite leg. Like, I was like, dude, you are working the right leg, not the left one. But that was part was okay. Then the other situation was Page was doing the super cool stuff against both of the guys of the tag team inside, and I was counting it. Those guys were inside for 55 seconds.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, how does this even happen on this level? It's like, it's crazy to me. But yeah, I mean, there's something to love about it and there's something to hate, definitely. But generally, I enjoy everything. I just look at it too critically because I'm trying to learn from it. Like, yeah, but most of the things, it's not about the wrestler's fault. It's about booking team's fault. And that is basically what WWE does. It's super crazy to me. I mean, you have this Mysterio feud with Rollins, and I was super critical about the booking of Dominic because, okay, you are booking the guy against Seth Rollins. What if he does have a good match? If he passes with flying colors, you need to send him off against another good guy. Slow it down. Like, someone's gonna bury that guy inside the ring. You know what I mean? I mean, it's safe bet for him to have a good match to go against Seth Rollins, but afterwards, it's off to the main event for you. No time to learn, buddy. You just need to go as the face of the company. I was hoping they would just throw him more with the Murphy, not with Seth. It would make a bit more sense to me. I mean, especially the match they had, like Seth Rollins and Murphy against Ray and Dominic. It was a good tag team match, but one thing was lacking. It didn't feel like father and son. They felt like tag team partners to me. If I was like trying to book the match, I would be like Rey Mysterio trying to protect his son, not to get his ass kicked. Like they do the heat on Rey Mysterio all the time, and he doesn't want to tag out because he doesn't want Seth Rollins and Murphy to beat the shit out of his son. But no, he's like, yeah, son, go in and get your ass kicked. And I was like, okay. Yeah, it was fantastic match. It was just lacking that one logic in my head to see it like I want to see it more as a movie. Like Rage needs to try to support his son and save him, not like, okay, here are these guys that are maybe on steroids, maybe not. Go inside and get your ass kicked. Enjoy that stuff. I'm like, what the shit? But
story of the match is always very important. You know, I think in general why we're out there and why they're doing stuff. But I said it's the same thing too with the way it is now. It's like I feel like it's just the way things went down with COVID and the product, and they're trying to keep it as interesting as possible and things like that. So, which is too why there's like I think there's a lot of shows that have really big main events and big matches where you're like, man, that could have been a pay-per-view. You know, like match, but they're trying to pique the interest on a consistent basis, you know, so. But I agree with what you're saying, though, but everything, too, it's like if the story's there, the why is there, then then it keeps it interesting and good. But, one of the, it's like I said, it's like with the tag team stuff, with having people in there for long, I'm in agreement, too. I'm big on that they shouldn't be in there that long, or there's a reason they can do it that long if the referee's with somebody else or if something, shouldn't make sense. But in wrestling in general, it's like sometimes a lot of people, like, they're just like, fuck it. You know what I mean? Like, they're like, whatever, just, they do it for the sake of the entertainment aspect of it, or just doing things that are just doing, like, good the way they are. But sorry, I just got a message.
No, good.
I was like, what is that? But it's, I'm the same way too. You should be in and out, firm believer of the rules. Like everybody tags on the back. Tag is supposed to be hand to hand while the guy's holding the tag rope in the corner, both feet on the floor.
Yep.
Like that's what they're supposed to be.
Over
things
the
like that.
Yep.
I'm an old school thinker like that, but which is fine because like again, everybody has their own styles. So like people they'll appreciate the old school is always going to work. Like people are like, oh, the 80s. Where like you can't do that stuff now. Like you can. Like there's no reason why you can't have an 80s
you
style
definitely
match.
can. You definitely can.
As long as you have the character with the believability of the character, and then all the moves are said timing wise on it. And if you're making everything mean something, there's no reason why things wouldn't work. It's just I feel like so many people are used to seeing the way things have gone, and they just try to mirror that because they're like, this is what's big now. And a lot of people want to be like a kind of a replica version of somebody else, and it's like you really have to be an original version of yourself. Like you have to be an original, like it's an act, like you're, like any kind of performer or comedian, or you have to have your own original act or stuff, or otherwise all you are is
don't be Carlos Mencia.
Right. Yeah. Like if I already have a Shawn Michaels, if I already have an AJ Styles, I don't need another one. I need a new, guy. I don't need somebody I already have. I need something, different. And it's like I love Kenny Omega and his matches and stuff. And I think everybody watches so much stuff with him.
He's amazing.
Like we were saying about doing the things that nobody else does. Like I can't tell you how many people I see use the V-trigger knee. Like it's Kenny Omega's. Like don't do it. Like, I don't know, like, literally everybody does a knee strike like that. And I'm like, I don't get it. And people use it as finishers and people, like, all the time. And I'm like, I'm like, I don't get it. Like, use something different. It's got to be different.
That's crazy.
So it's like the new super kick, like is the V trigger, the shining knee, or the knee strike. Everybody does it, and it's like,
everyone
try
does.
to be different stuff.
Yeah, other stuff. I mean, Luke Cage does head scissors into the ropes, then 619. Okay.
Yeah.
We all know who that move belongs to, but yeah, go ahead and do it, I guess.
Yeah. try to do different stuff. So it's like, I mean, everything essentially is going to be stolen from somebody.
Yeah.
Like, it's really hard to get original.
I mean, yeah, inspired from somebody. Moves. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I get it.
Dr. Tom always said that too. Tom Pritchard. He always said, honestly, everything has already been done, stolen from somebody. It's just a matter of what you're taking and how you're doing and doing your own spin. Like AJ Styles said too, he said, everything I do is the same as everybody else. He goes, if my forearm is a little bit bigger, my knee is just a little bit bigger. It's just like everything you're doing is the same. Like Rock did an elbow, but he just threw his own stank on it. You know what I mean? Like
that's a good
point. Same thing. It's just doing it in our own way.
Mm-hmm.
So essentially everything is still going to be stolen from somebody, but it's just doing things that people aren't doing. And doing them different, and that's what the hard part is coming up with new stuff.
Yeah,
I think, in my opinion, that's one of the things that's really hard is coming up with new moves and stuff. But something that's also safe for everybody to take. Like, people have these moves, and I'm like, I don't want to take that. Drop me on my head, dude. I got to get up and go to work tomorrow.
I've been there.
I got to walk tomorrow.
Yeah.
So it's safety that's always my main thing too. I told everybody, I said safety comes first. Because tomorrow, real life is going to come out. After this 6 or 12-minute match, like when we walk through the curtain, the light goes off, and then everything goes back to responsibilities and bills and food and family and whatever else you're doing in your life. But for that 6 or 12 minutes or half hour that you're out there, it's a different world. But eventually, you're going to walk back through the magical mirror, or the magic curtain, and then go back to reality. So if you can't do what makes you a living outside of that too, and you hurt somebody,
Yeah, it's a tricky situation because for the up-and-comers, for the new guys that are trying to break through, is like you still need to have few jaw-droppers in your matches. Like you need to take some risks, I guess. I remember when I was wrestling, and this was a expensive lesson from my side, I was wrestling some German dudes in Germany in front of like 50 drunk German fans, and this dude that never did a push-up in his life, he goes like, "Oh, can I please do this move?" He was doing like some form of a Rikishi driver variation, I don't know.
Yeah.
I was looking at him, I was like, "Dude, you're not gonna be able to lift me." "Oh, please, I want to try this. This is my favorite move." I was like, "Yeah, fuck it, I guess." Yeah, so point of the match comes, he needs to do the fucking driver on me. He lifts me up. I'm too heavy. We are sweaty. I slip face first on my temple, actually. And poof, lost my sight for like 3 seconds. Everything is black. I just hear the crowd, "Ooh!" And I hear the guy, "I'm sorry." Whisper in my ear, "Are you okay? I'm sorry." And I'm like in my head like, "You motherfucker, I knew it. I knew it." Yeah, I had my fucked up neck still to this day. And the stupid part is I was supposed to wrestle Angelico weekend afterwards, and I'm having a fucking almost broken neck because of this fucker in front of 50 people for low cash. And my hope was like, I'm gonna make a fool out of myself in front of Angelico. This is my first time wrestling the guy. I want to make a good impression. So I was shaking my pains that day, and force of nature, somehow destiny put the charm on it, and I missed my flight to Germany that day. It was actually cancelled. I got stuck in Sweden for like 8 hours because my flight was Zadar, Zagreb, Sweden, Gothenburg, from Gothenburg to Germany. So
dude, it's hard out there. Yeah, you had a lot of connections to get to places.
Apparently, Croatian people don't like to travel directly anywhere. Like everywhere you go, it needs to be like. Even if you go to Budapest, it's like Zadar, Zagreb, München from Germany to Budapest. I'm like, shit, son. It's like 12-hour trip, but with the car it's like 5 hours. So craziness.
Yeah.
But I don't know where I was going with this. So but you know what's the crazy part?
Saying, about getting hurt and telling a guy to.
Yeah, exactly. Because this is the hard part about the up and coming guys. This is the special case about the sport, because this is the only case of any sport where promotion or sports club, for that to say, is more popular than the sport itself, if it makes any sense. Like, if you see soccer, you have Real Madrid. It's not more popular than soccer is. You have in basketball, you have Chicago Bulls, not more popular than basketball is. But WWE more popular than pro wrestling is. So it's like shit. Because in other sports you have federations and shit like that. They are watching the whole situation. In our case, WWE is the one that does everything. So I don't know. Someone missed the opportunity with this one. I think should be first Pro Wrestling Federation, WWE, and everything else below. Not WWE and everything else below. But
I mean, it's crazy because there's so many more opportunities now than there was even just a few years ago, when it was kind of just WWE. There really wasn't. Now there's really a lot more opportunity for guys to make their own choice and their own living and do their own thing and have enough places to go and get work. Because it was hard to have enough work or find places where you can make enough money at this point. And when you were coming through too, it was hard. It was a hard thing. When I was in the earlier years, where you're saying somebody wants to try something, or obviously I've realized in time there's some things that you have to try in the ring and you can't practice them depending on timing and positioning, table ladders and chairs match, or certain things. There's certain moves that obviously we're not going to try it before we go out there and do it, but in general, if you're not, you should never do it in a match first. But I get it too. There's times where training was not, as accessible, especially now with stuff. So most of the time people were trying things out in the match in front of a live crowd, which again, I'm not a huge fan of. There is sometimes a time and a place where you have to do that, but ultimately in general, I don't think that's something that you should be doing 99% of the time.
Oh, for sure, man.
And it's hard being the young guy and working with an older guy that wants to do things and you're not comfortable with. Because it's happened to me too, where guys who are way more experienced than me said they were going to do something and they promised that they were going to take care of me or whatever, and they drop you on your head. And that week you're walking around because you think you broke your jaw, because they dumped you on your head and, and things like that. And now you're, there's times where that happened and it sucks.
For sure.
The younger guy when you can't call the stuff. I like being able to be more experienced and call the match, but I think it should be both people together working in general anyway. I still just don't believe there's matches where, a squash match is, that's to put over a guy to advance a story too. But I still feel in general that there's no reason why both people shouldn't leave the match better than they walked in. Should be able to leave both guys better, and the match should always move-wise, it doesn't matter what it is, but whatever it is, it should always go like this, as you're doing things. And then, when you have here and then some moves bring it back down here, and then it's a little hard, I get that, and people are always trying to try different things or try new stuff, but ultimately safety is important. Safety is always my number one thing on people, and especially for myself, because I've had so many injuries that plagued my career. Everything was good at the times, and then injuries would happen, and then there you go. It changes everything.
I always keep in mind that you shouldn't try the stuff first time during the match. But in my case, I didn't have it any other way, because I trained inside the ring before I had my match in my whole career, I trained inside the ring 7 times. I had 7 training sessions. I couldn't do it any other way. It was that's a good guy in training. Give him a chance. Cool match. Okay. Few matches later, Paul London in Portugal. I was like, how did that happen? Like,
living a dream.
Yeah, like, okay, I'll take it, of course, but dude, I'm not ready for this shit. Like, everything I wanted to try, every move, every finish, like shooting star press, you think I could train this stuff? I had to do it on spot. 450, the way I was training 450 was from the standing position in my studio. Like, I was thinking like, okay, if I can hit it standing, then I can hit it from the ropes. Okay, so I was doing it. I was drilling it over and over on nobody on my mats. Everything with everything else, like with the corkscrew, with the fucking Sasuke special. Fans think like, oh, he's expert in this, and I was like, dude, I tried Sasuke special for 2 times, and you saw it both times on a live show. So I have no idea how to do this move. I'm just guessing here. You shouldn't do this, guys. By the way, you shouldn't do this way.
Right, yeah.
But this is my.
You have some crazy talent though. You really do. I was amazed by the stuff you can parkour, like you can do crazy stuff. I was like, yo, like.
Oh, thank you.
I'm amazed by stuff. I would never try that stuff.
I mean, I was just like you before I started pro wrestling. I was doing everything separately. I was doing boxing, kickboxing, jiu-jitsu, parkour, gymnastics, weightlifting, everything that puts me like all the parts of the game, I guess. So super crazy. Oh man, this fucking whiskey is kicking my ass right now. It's like this is I started doing this is Jack Daniel's honey. That one with honey. Yeah, I fucking love this one.
Yeah.
I'm a whiskey guy, and usually on my podcast I used to do like a Monster energy drink or whatever, but I was like, fuck that shit. I'm just gonna try with whiskey.
Yeah, if it wasn't so early here, I would join you, but I'm going back to the gym then. So
it's 7 p.m. Sunday, so I'm just chilling the fuck.
Yeah, I know. It's only like, what is it, like 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock, 1:30 or something like that over here. So I'm still gonna head back to the gym. So
with that being said,
CrossFit this morning.
Cheers, guys.
But I got my amino acids, so.
That's fucking.
But I started doing CrossFit now, so that's been like. I've been doing that for a few months now. That's like one of the best things I ever did. So it's like great. Yeah, I'm doing now like 5 days a week with that, and total like difference in my body now, like in strength and everything. Like, plus so the last match I had was in October with HCW with you guys. So I'd like to still get back in there and finish some things in my own terms. I'd like to do a couple things before I'm done. I still want to make sure that we get a tag match. I'm on a team with you, and if we can get Dino too in the 6-man, that would be phenomenal. So there's things like that I still want to do. I'd like to come back to HCW.
I mean, just switching your workout routine is gonna turn back the clock on your body. Definitely, I feel like. But honestly, I'm not too big of a supporter of CrossFit because of the longevity of the sport. I just feel like all the cleans, snatches, and shit. It just takes time to develop, and all these CrossFitter guys they just do it in a few months. But power cleans and snatches, it's Olympic sport actually. It's Olympic lift, and people train those for like 5 years before they put on some serious weight. But not in CrossFit. Those guys just do it like ridiculously. But honestly, I'm not gonna be here shitting on CrossFit because here in Zadar and in Croatia, we don't actually have CrossFit like. True CrossFit that is in the States, I guess, the way I see it on the Google explanations or whatever. I feel like this in Zadar is something these guys were just YouTube tutorials how to CrossFit, and this is what they have. So I don't know what actually they are doing, but what these guys in Zadar are doing is not very specific related to the fitness of
athletes. There's some stuff that we'll do. It's not even like squats and burpees, just it's a time thing, and it's a amount of rounds and certain things. But most of it said we do a warm-up, a 5 or 6 minute warm-up, and then we do a strength session with maybe some squats or I love deadlifts now, because all this stuff is things that I would never do on my own because I was so worried about injuries and back and lifting heavy weights. And so working with these guys, I've started to do so many things that I've never done before, and my body's getting so much stronger. Like my legs, I had the ACL meniscus surgery in 2018 in January, and my leg's never been better since I had surgery, since I've been working out with these guys and doing stuff. But they also make sure that I don't go crazy with the weight. You know, which is what I like, is somebody's there telling me your form is wrong, your back needs to straighten up, you need to bring this, you need to widen your grip, you need to open up your knees, you need to do this, you know, so I don't get hurt.
Yeah.
And there's a recommended weight that you're supposed to use for the workout, but at the same time too, if you can't control the function of the workout, then you need to drop the weight.
Of course.
So you do whatever weight works for you so you can keep it under control. So which is great, you know, for me. So but it's also too, it's just like, it's high intensity interval training, you know, like you're in and out of there in an hour. And when I get out of there, it's like my clothes are like it's like I took a shower with my clothes on. Like that's how it is like when I'm finished with them. So it's like, I love that. And then I keep my diet now. I got everything back to like, I'm working the 3,000 calorie diet with 300 grams of protein a day.
300, wow. That's a shitload.
As low fat as possible. And I'm eating a lot of carbs. I eat like 300 or 400 grams of carbs a day.
Yeah, you need a few,
I'm at
right?
like 195. Like I dropped 25 pounds of fat since I got here, and then I'm putting on muscle slowly. So I'm around like 195, but I'm in better shape than I've been in a while.
I love that. I love to hear that, man. Super cool to hear.
I feel great. Like I feel really good. So especially too, I'm like, man, if I can deadlift, like I maxed out like a 310 deadlift, and I did 275 for 3 sets of 8. So I was like, if I could do this stuff, I'm like, I could wrestle, bro. You know, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if I can do this, I can, you know, just making sure that you make smart decisions in the ring. Like we were saying, not doing stuff that you're going to get hurt on, you know, or stupid things, or taking unnecessary risks.
Yeah,
know?
just watch for your knees on CrossFit sessions also.
Yeah, that was my biggest thing. Yeah, I told him it was my knees, and what we've been doing has been great. So it's been getting better. So
yeah,
and Nate says they're you know exactly what I'm looking at and what I'm trying to do. So if they see anything, they're on me right away. With you know, squat down, point your knees out. You know, make sure your knee's not over your toe when you're doing lunges or things like that. So it's great though. I love it. I'm just, you know, it's doing something different too. It's like just changing it up. Every workout is different. I've never done the same workout twice there. So it keeps the body guessing, which is great. So I'll still do my regular gym session once or twice a week, a full body thing and cardio. Like yesterday I just did cardio for an hour just because, you know, but I'm at the gym every day though since the past 3 months. I got pneumonia while I was down here. And I thought it was COVID, which was scary.
Oh, shit, yeah.
Being in Florida, everywhere has air conditioning, like crazy cold air conditioning. So usually I'd be in and out with a wet shirt or wet clothes, and then I walk into an air-conditioned room, and eventually it just catches up with you. So, but I got tested, and once everything was clear, and they told me it was just pneumonia, and I was super happy. And I mean, I was in bed for like 4 days straight. But once that finished, I was like, new motivation. I was like, I'm ready to go, man. So, yeah. So,
yeah. I mean, yeah, CrossFit is definitely like a step up from the old-fashioned bodybuilding trainings. I mean, definitely have more functionality for the pro wrestling business than I don't know what you were doing before. But I would just like to point you out. I will send you one Instagram account. It's Strong by Science. Yeah, this guy is a wizard. It just feels like, even though CrossFit is good, I think you need a bit more specifics, and you will be surprised when you see this guy. Just follow him up, and every now and then he's gonna blow your mind. It was a game changer for me, definitely. And
definitely.
But yeah, with that being said, let's not gonna keep you up for a very long time more. We are around hour. I don't know how much time you have now, but yeah, I'm
good, dude. I hit a workout this morning. And
okay, then cool. Let's speak about this COVID-19 because we need to touch on it, of course.
Okay.
Okay, so this is actually a tricky situation to be talking about. Because everyone is affected by it. Like either on a health side or economic side with finances and everything. Me personally, I've been affected more financially than health-wise.
Right.
Health-wise, I'm not afraid of it. It's like, dude, I don't feel like it's that deadly. And I feel like this mortality rate of 3% is too crazy to keep everyone from working, because economics is going to hit not 3% but 100% of population on the planet, right? And yeah, you feel it in Croatia. It's like we had this lockdown for like 2 or 3 months. Country was sending the checks of support to everyone, and after 3 months they were like, dude, we have no money left. You guys better get back to work. So yeah, just put the mask on and earn for living.
Exactly. Yep.
So
that's kind of where the way Florida was.
I support that decision, definitely. I feel like for Homo sapiens, as a humankind, we are obligated to go out and fight this thing to get immunity for future of human race. That's how I feel about it, because every new virus was killing the human race. Not anymore. Go out, survive it, get immunity on it. Just think about the future, man. Think about the future.
Right.
I mean, it's harsh to say, because some people did lose their dear family members because of the COVID-19.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, but I don't know. It's one thing I don't want to be is a politician this era, because very tricky.
No.
Very tricky, man.
I try to always stay clear of politics and touchy subjects and all the things that go on, like social media things too. I don't post my opinion on things. I don't.
Yeah.
I just don't need to get involved with it. I don't in general anyway. But I mean, obviously, I definitely have feelings on it. But socially, I just see a lot of people that that post their opinions and they voice their concerns with things. I'm like, there's just enough of it on social media where I'm like, I don't want to even step my foot in that pool. I just don't need to.
Yeah.
But it is hard to. I think that it's everybody's body is different, so people are going to react to it differently too. The more healthy you are, the more likely you are to be okay if you did, get it. I knew people that have had it and they're fine. They came back fine off of it. Like you were saying, like you have to really just, if you just put the mask on and kind of do the right thing, and like there's no reason why you can't keep things going. That's the way it kind of was down here. Like like the gyms have been open, but I work out with a mask on and I wipe the machine down before and after I finish it. So it's like but whenever it's hard because it was financially, like you said, everybody's got to get back to work. Like you can't just not do things. And like if now it's, I feel people they know if they don't have it or not. Like if you feel fine or not. So if you're around other people or family members or things like that, it's a different story. When you go out in public to a store or somewhere where you don't know people, I feel like it's the most important time to protect yourself and everybody. Is wear that mask, wipe your, keep a hand sanitizer, wash your hands, or just be careful. But like we've all been going through this long enough now to, like I said, you can kind of tell I think you would know if you had it or not, like, and we'll just get tested anyway. I've had to test just to make sure I'm good anyway. So, it was definitely a big change for a lot of people. And down here, they shut things down, but in Florida, really didn't I don't feel like it ever really fully shut down like New York did and New Jersey did, like lockdown. We were urged to, but people were like, I kept working completely through. I live in Florida and I work for a golf cart dealership. I do mechanics and delivery and everything else that they need. So like they taught me how to rip apart a whole car and rebuild it.
Oh, wow, cool.
And being down here, there's so many places that use golf carts, or those vehicles, like, complexes or golf courses or even hospitals and police department. Like everybody has one down here. So it's like we never really lost any work, luckily. So that was always a great thing that I was grateful for. But so many people were out of work and getting checks and things like that. But
yeah,
it changed everything. It really did. It was just a scary time. But, if you do the right thing and protect yourself, and if you're sick, stay home and, don't be around people.
That's it, yeah. Yeah, for me, honestly, I don't actually think mask is like a protector from the virus or anything. I feel like it's just a like excuse of the government to put you to work. Like we did all the safety protocols so we can keep working in the eyes of World Health Organization. Because like if there's no masks, everyone would be in lockdown. And first of all, I was thinking like, fuck the government, blah blah blah, all the stupid decisions. And don't get me wrong, they are like stupid decisions, because here in Croatia, the bars and the clubs and everything, you can work till midnight. Midnight you need to shut down. Why? Because fucking Corona wakes up at midnight and starts affecting people. It doesn't make that logic doesn't make any sense. But one friend of mine said like, just shut up. Mask, that's good thing, because if no mask, we would all be back in lockdown. And I was starting like, holy shit, you have Israel government that like puts people back in houses for like, you can leave the house in a radius of 500 meters. You can have people in a house, but 6 people max. Imagine that, like shit, like it's crazy. I feel like, okay, we have masks on so we can work. It feels like our government is making like this decision to at least we can work. So people, please shut the fuck up and wear the mask, because this is the only way we can work. Not stepping on the toe of a World Health Organization. We are all not so badass like Sweden is. Sweden, those fucking Viking people, they don't give a shit. No masks, no nothing. They're like, oh fuck, give me some ale. I'm gonna be in Valhalla.
I was interested to see how it was over there, and the way things changed and how it affected it, as opposed to
those guys
here.
Don't give a fuck.
But like people in Japan have worn masks, or China, like they've worn masks for so long. If they were sick, like and it seemed like they were, they knew they were obviously a little bit more ahead of the curve than everybody in general.
Yeah, but
I would see people too. If you're sick and you're wearing a mask, like that's.
But you need to think about like most of the viruses and new diseases.
Spread it.
Yeah, but every new virus starts from China. Like everything starts there. Like you had SARS, like you had like all these. Everything starts in China. It's shady business. Someone needs to look into it.
Yeah, it's crazy, but I mean, the way it is now, like you said, it's like you just have to. Like I was saying, you just got to make smarter decisions. You got to protect yourself and protect other people, and as long as you can, keep doing stuff, you gotta just wear the mask. Like it's not that, like as long as you do everything you can to try to protect yourself as much as possible. Like if you're gonna get it, you're gonna get it.
Exactly. It's not that big of a deal.
If you do, then you have to do what just like anything in general. Like if you get it, then you have to, then you got to take care of yourself. That's just the way life is.
Yeah. What I don't like is government not promoting the healthy lifestyle. I mean, this is everyone knows if you're healthy, if you're not too obese, if you're in good shape, you're not going to get it. I mean, most of the fighters in UFC everyone, like tennis players, they all caught Corona. They're good in 2 weeks. No problem.
Right.
Healthy immunity system. And nobody in the government says like, please, it's your last time. Just don't be a fat piece of shit. Go out there and train. Change your diet, take care of yourself. They're not doing this shit. They are just talking about the fucking vaccine or whatever. Who gives a fuck about vaccine? Take care of your fucking bodies. That's the number one thing you need to do. Not fucking give me another pill.
If you're in general good shape, it's going to be better and easier for you.
Exactly.
But if you're not, it's like you said, it's harder then. So
you're fucked. Not just corona-wise, everything. Yeah. Everything else is going to fuck you up.
If you have regular flu, it's still going to affect you way worse if your immune system is bad.
So that's the whole point. Don't be a lazy piece of shit. Take care of yourself, people, and you're gonna be fine. Trust us.
I mean, just in general, people need to take care. You should be trying to take care of yourself as best as possible anyway.
Exactly.
Regardless, to try to live longer, or because man, everything that happened this year, life's just too short to be miserable and unhappy. So like if it makes you happy, do it.
Exactly.
Like, whatever it is, like being somewhere or doing something.
I'm glad you mentioned that, because you know what I did? I started my driving school for I want to drive a chopper. I always wanted to have a chopper, and
Nice.
I'm looking to buy one right now. I have an exam like in a few days, and I hope to be there to kick his ass and have some Harley on my driveway. Always wanted to do this, and I'm gonna do it. Fuck it.
Yeah, that's like down here. Like I had to get a car, at one point, and then eventually I was looking, after a few months, and I couldn't afford anything crazy anyway, but I always wanted to have a Mustang just because I always loved Mustangs in general. And so when I was down here, I kept looking for cars and how much I could put down, and it just seemed to work out. I went to a place, and it's a 2010. It's a used Mustang, but it's in real good condition. But
that's a good year.
I said, man, I'm like, you know what? It's like you said, like fuck it. I'm like,
fuck it, man.
Life's too short. Like just I always wanted. So
of course.
Of course. I'm driving, like one of the cars I've always wanted to have. So it's like I'm getting an apartment coming up soon in November. I've just been on the waiting list for it. So, but I'm renting a room at a place now that's really great. So it's like, I'll be like this year I'll be finally have like my own place, living in Florida, driving a Mustang, getting in the best shape of my life. Like,
what else can you do?
Life's not so bad. Life's not so bad.
Yeah.
Getting back, wrestling will come back around. Yeah. It's always going to be there too. That's one thing I've told everybody, especially after all this stuff, because like life happens, man. I've coached so many people, and life happens, and sometimes wrestling has to take a back seat to real life. Like sometimes you have to just focus on, because at the end, what kind of quality of life are you going to have in 2 or 3 years if all you're doing is pushing the pedal to the ground and you're not taking care of the car? Like, you have to change the oil, you have to change the tires, you got to repair things, you have to make sure things are good. So it's like life happens. So I tell people that wrestling's always going to be here. It's just a matter of you have to make sure that you're
that's well said.
You're good to go.
Definitely.
Right. So that's like, so things are coming around. I'm looking forward to next year. I'm excited for next year. Get past 2020 and just see where things go.
Fuck 2020, man.
Yeah,
fuck 2020. Jesus.
I'm making a new list of people and things I want to do, and just want to start checking them off. So, like I said, a tag match with you is up there.
Of course.
Especially a 6-man with Dino would be the best. But I still want us to run a show in Croatia. I want to have a show in Zadar.
This needs to happen. Yeah, we need to.
Right in the square there.
Of course. Zadar needs to be first. Everything started in Zadar.
That's it.
You're from Zadar. I'm from Zadar. Antonio is from Zadar. Dano actually started wrestling from Zadar. So, fuck everything else. Zadar needs to be day one. Day two should be Zagreb. Yeah, but we're gonna do it definitely one day. So, what's up next for you? I mean, with wrestling, when do you think you're gonna be back in action?
Man, I don't really know right now. I mean, I feel good now. Like, so I'm starting to feel real good. I'm always like one of those, like, you're never going to be in good enough shape. Like, you can always be better. Yeah. So, but right now, I mean, I really want to. I'd like to be in the ring somewhere by the end of the year. Try to get something going.
Oh, that's cool.
WrestlePro is always like my home promotion anyway. So I'm hoping to get back up there, and I'm going in October to see my family for a couple of days. So, but I'm hoping to get back into. I'd like to get back into WrestlePro sometime soon, but after that, there's so many different things to try, or see where things go. Like we said, there's AEW now, there's MLW, there's WWE, there's NXT. There's so many different places and things to just try and get a bucket list of. But I'd like to just have a couple. I'd like I said, write some goals down of people I want to work with. Yeah. And do that stuff first, and hopefully if something good comes out of it, then so be it. But I really would, I thought for a while last year and this year that I was done. Like, honestly, I didn't think I was going to be able to get back into any kind of condition. The main thing that messed me up last year was I had like 4 headshots. I took 4 big shots to the head that I think gave me concussions. And they were fairly repetitive in matches. So I had one, somebody gave me a knee, a V trigger, right in the beginning of the match. Somebody else Germaned me twice in a match, and I hit the back of my head on the front of their head. They weren't comfortable doing it. And
that's a lousy German.
Yeah. and then I Germaned somebody else that didn't jump, and he landed right on my head when I hit the ground. So it was like all those combined with, and that was really hard. Like I ended up spending a couple days in the hospital. Spent like a week in the hospital for all that.
Oh my God! Yeah.
For time, and it was emotionally draining, depression, anxiety, mood swings,
Yeah, and you had the knee injury before that, so.
Yeah, before that was the knee. Like honestly, the concussion stuff was worse. I don't wish that on like anybody. All the post concussion syndrome stuff. So it was rough, but
yeah.
So now I said I'm just trying to, I'm looking at it like I got a second wind here or another shot. So
yeah,
I have a lot of things I want to do.
My luck was I had a concussion in the beginning of my career. It was like one of the first matches. I think match number 7 was my concussion, and it's actually the first time in my life that I did a shooting star press was with the concussion. And so I was wrestling in Italy, and Italian people are sucking English. Like those guys just they can't speak. I don't know. I was supposed to make a tag, run in, double line, go to the corner. I was doing the backflip into a back elbow, so 1.5 backflip. Mm-hmm. Those motherfuckers were not there. Just they were like watching from the other side of the ring, like.
Yeah.
And I just fell on my back with the head hit the ground.
Yeah.
And on the camera you can see, I get up, I continue the match. I have no recollection of the match whatsoever.
Yeah.
Like I even finished with the shooting star press, won the match. First time I ever did a shooting star press. I don't remember anything. Next thing I remember, I was in Milan in hospital, getting my brain scanned, and I was like, "What happened? What happened? What happened?" All the time.
Yeah, that's what's scary.
Yeah, but it was like it was match number 7, and I guess that's why I didn't have any post depression, because it was cool. Like, oh shit, I had a concussion. Yeah, bud.
When you first starting out.
Everything is cool.
Like a badge of honor. Like you wear that like a badge of honor. Like, yeah, man, I got a concussion.
What happened? Oh, I had a concussion.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you go, buddy. Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
Crazy. But
now for all the stuff we know about it, it's so different now.
Oh,
we didn't know so much about concussions back 10 years ago even.
Yeah. Yeah. That's craziness. I mean, up until your knee injury, you were working for TNA, right?
I was with Impact in 2017, and honestly, I worked with them for maybe about 6 months.
So
things changed with them real quick too, with management. Things were still in a different time at that point.
Mm-hmm. Did you work for WWE or any level or not?
I did like early, around when I was about 5 years in, like 2005. I did like did some extra work for them on TV. I wrestled Rob Conway on Sunday Night Heat, and then I wrestled Simon Dean on Velocity.
Yeah, cool.
That was before I went to Ohio Valley Wrestling in 2005.
Wait. This might be whiskey coming out of me, but I'm not. Simon Dean.
What?
That's the guy with the milkshakes.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Fucking love that guy. So what was it like working with that guy?
Mike's awesome. Mike Buki. He used to be Nova. He was in Blue World Order.
Oh yeah, exactly.
Yeah, he was Hollywood Nova and Blue. Mike, he's awesome. He's such a great guy, and he actually trained my one trainer, Pat Buck, from Wrestle Pro. So, and I've known Mike for years. So he's just an awesome dude, and so that was fun, like working with him and stuff, because he was like, I never got to wrestle him, so I wrestled him. That was the first time and stuff. Yeah, he's just a great guy. Anyway, he'd come and do seminars and coach, and he was always great to talk to. You could always message him if you needed anything or whatever you wanted to do. Yeah. But him and Rob Conway was good too, and Rob was awesome. He was such a nice guy. But it was weird because it was like the first time I got to do anything with them in the ring, and I was already planning on going down to OVW anyway. So it was like a good little experience just to get in there. But it was cool working in front of a crowd that size. Like, I was young. I was only 5 years in, but maybe like 24, 25, and like you felt like I was like, oh man, this is crazy. Like this is where you want to be, But
Yeah.
it's like it's hard being young too and getting things and you don't know. I learned a lot of stuff by making mistakes, saying the wrong thing and doing the wrong thing. So,
Oh, of course.
so it's a great experience, but that's how you learn anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
So that was awesome getting to work with them. And then I didn't do much with that. Then I was an OVW and we got to do stuff like Paul Heyman was down there for a while. So he was running TV. So we got to do things and learn under him for a long time. CM Punk was down there at the time. The Miz was down there. Bobby Lashley was there. Like, you got to see these guys come up and become stars. You were like, it's crazy.
Yeah, wow.
It was a crazy time down there.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Okay, let me hit you up with 2 more questions, and we're gonna wrap it up. So this is basically 2 questions I'm asking every guest of mine. I mean, yeah, one is just for the wrestlers, of course, and that's gonna be the first one. Is like, if you had to pick one pro wrestler that impacted you the most, and you have to say one that you need to say, like, imagine aliens came down to the earth and say, what is pro wrestling? And you need to say that guy. Who is it going to be?
Wow. Man. What is pro wrestling? Who's the guy?
Just one man. You need to pick. Yeah. Super hard.
Wow. That's crazy. Yeah. That's a good one, too. Is that like my all-time favorite person? Or is it
I guess so, yeah.
Yeah?
It doesn't have to be like for everyone, just for you personally.
Well, I mean, my guy in general, like my one guy, was Eddie Guerrero. Like
me too, brother.
Like I was like,
I would hug you right now, but you're like miles away.
Yeah, man, I can't. Like, I know, right? Like he was. I mean, there were so many people that really like.
Of course,
I mean, Hulk Hogan was a huge influence when I grew up because he was the first. Like, I got his action figure before I even saw him on TV.
Oh, wow.
So it was like, when I saw him on TV, I was like, oh my God, like I have an action figure of that guy. Like, it wasn't a cartoon. It wasn't G.I. Joe or Thundercats.
Exactly. That's a real guy,
an actual action figure of a human being. And I was like, oh my God. So that was always like big. Shawn Michaels was a big guy too for me because he was, shorter. He wasn't a big guy. He was more athletic and stuff. But, like for me, it was like all around Eddie was my hands down favorite. Like he was the one that I was like, all right, he's that size. He can do this. He can do that. Like, he had it all. The character, when he was doing the lie, cheat, and steal stuff, and when he was every match, like it was different coming out with the lowriders. Like, man, like that was my favorite time. That was my favorite time. 2003 2003 to 2005. You had him, like Benoit, Kurt Angle on SmackDown, Rey Mysterio was there, Edge was there. Like SmackDown was awesome. Yeah, SmackDown was great. But Eddie was my all-time. I was a big Edge fan too. Big fan of Edge.
Yep.
Benoit was always a big one. Eddie, Angle, and Benoit were like 3 of them where I was like, most of my style was going to be molded off of them.
Malenko, Jericho, there's the crew.
Jericho too, forget it. Yeah, man. Like,
of course.
There's so many people it's hard, but like you said, if that's my one, Eddie's my one.
I love the choice. Best choice so far. I heard it. Like, super
that's
good.
That's right.
Okay, with that being said, let's go to the last question. And that is simple. Okay. It's the same thing as pro wrestling, but we're going to talk about music. Because everyone can relate. If there is one band, one music artist you need to save that is your best, your personal favorite, so everything else disappears, you just have to stick with this music till the end of times. Who is it going to be?
Wow. Oh, wow, that's hard.
Oh, yep. I know.
Yeah, you're like, I know. Holy cow, dude, that's crazy. Man, who would I stick with? I don't know who I'd actually stick with, but wow. I mean, when I was growing up, I was a big fan of Aerosmith for a long time.
Nice.
I don't know if I would stick them as my ultimate. If I had to choose one person, that's it. It would be them. But man, That's hard. I listen to so many different things, like so many things people wouldn't even expect me to listen to.
Give us something. Come on. What's the most shameful thing you have on your playlist on your phone?
Probably right now is NSYNC. Probably the way. It came up on YouTube, and I was like, "Oh, I remember this." And next thing you know, I'm like, "Oh yeah, yeah, that's pretty bad
Shit,
on there."
man. Fuck.
That's recent though. That's like only a week though. It just came out. And then of course it gives you like Backstreet Boys, 98 Degrees, and then it starts giving you all these other bands, and you're like,
I'm guilty as charged. I have some Backstreet Boys on my phone. Shit.
Yeah, I'm like,
fuck.
Oh. And then I'm like, yeah, that song was awesome. I remember that.
Yeah, there's actually one Backstreet Boys song that when I was a metalhead having a long hair up and till my ass down there, I had this what's the Incomplete by Backstreet Boys. I used to secretly love the song, so my friends don't hear I love it, because they would be like, what the fuck, you fucking traitor, like. But in my deepest, loneliest hours, I would be like, Incomplete Backstreet Boys. But I was a metalhead.
In the Mustang with Backstreet Boys or NSYNC blasting.
Shit.
I get to a traffic light and I turn the volume down.
Oh.
Just don't look at anybody, and then you just speed off real quick.
And then you can turn it back on. So, are you sticking to Aerosmith or NSYNC? Or someone else?
That's great. No, I have. I mean, if I have to choose one, it'd have to be Aerosmith. But,
I loved it. Yeah.
I listen to so much different stuff, theme music, or just like Eminem once in a while for lifting. I like a little bit of rock stuff.
Yep.
Stained. I like Stained a lot.
Oh, good one.
Stained is really good. Listen to some Guns N' Roses. I still have old school stuff, but yeah.
I'm an old soul, so I like your pick of Aerosmith because I'm an old soul. I like more like Southern rock, I guess. My all-time favorite is Creedence Clearwater Revival. That's the shit for me. That's those are OGs, like shit.
Yeah.
No one has a voice like Fogerty. Yeah, fuck it. So I love it. Okay, man. So anything else you want to say for the fans listening and watching?
Well, man, I said I hope to be back in there one day. I don't know when everything's gonna happen, but I'm working on it, and I missed getting down here. Moving down here was a lot of big changes and things happened, and I always still feel everything's supposed to happen for a reason. So you need all those things to help you become the person you are. So a lot of changing happened this year, which is good. There was a lot of bad that I dealt with, but a lot of good in the same way. So right now I'm happy where I'm at, and I'm excited for the future and stuff. So man, I just hope that people still remember or still care. So hopefully I got a little bit left in the tank to do some stuff, but I'm figuring it out. But I'm grateful for a lot of stuff. So
nice.
I'm grateful for where I am now and not where I was yesterday. So
well said. Yeah. Well, there you have it, guys. I mean, we're gonna wrap it up. Mario, you just stay on my line. Don't go away.
Okay.
I need to ask you a few questions off air, and because we're gonna wrap it up.
Good.
I need to piss either way. I'm drunk as fuck right now. Like, this whiskey kicked my fucking ass, dude.
We gotta do another version where I can drink with you.
Yeah, definitely. You're gonna be back. If you wanna do it, let's do it again. So much more to talk about. Definitely.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Okay, guys. So follow Mario everywhere. Mario Bokara, wherever people are these days.
Just Google, just search my name in any social media and it comes up.
Yep, that's it. And Feel It Podcast, listen on Podbean, Apple Podcast, Spotify. Watch us on YouTube. And this is it. We are out. Till next time, guys. Cheers.